you've probably noticed, just like you said, that there's people that will ridicule it, but there's other people you can maybe, and I learned long ago to not try to tell conspiracy theories to people, but you can literally start telling somebody about a conspiracy, and it's like a glaze comes over their eyes, like a doe that's caught in the headlights, and they go into a trance.
Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that.
But yeah,
exactly. It's. And
I'm talking about on a more.
I don't believe it. That's the truth. They say I don't want to hear about it. But
I'm talking about.
They don't want to know the truth.
I'm talking about an even more primal level than that, Sean. I'm not talking about that they don't want to hear the truth, that they don't want to know it. I'm talking about that they literally can't. They cannot. Their programming will not allow that to go. They will live. And I was thinking, well, you know what? You can almost walk into a bank and start talking about conspiracies, and everyone would just go into a trance, and you could rob a bank. You know what I mean? It's that's, think about it. You can disable somebody by trying to tell them some of these conspiracies. I mean, have you noticed this, right? I mean, it's not that, there are a lot of people that don't want to hear it, but there's the majority of people literally can't. I mean, their body will go into shock or something if you suggest that 911 was something other than some mad Arabs, with box cutters that ran a plane into the building. When it's obvious, anyone watching the film.
Yeah, and then they write a tax write-off on the bill. Come on.
Listen, I mean, all you got to know is that video looks fake because it's probably some type of holograph or something. But first of all, that plane would not have gone into the building. It would have been rejected by the building. But second of all, if it had gone into the building, the back end of the building would have blown out just due to pressure, air pressure. All the windows would have come out the back end, and that didn't happen. So and I 911 is something I don't even discuss that, because as I saw it happening, I was there with the millions of Americans being traumatized when I saw it, and as soon as I saw it, I knew instantly. that it was not what it appeared to be, that it was all a big production. And one thing I did not know instantly, and one thing that I really did have genuine heartbreak and sorrow on and everything, because I was younger and didn't know any better, and this was the Challenger disaster. With Krista McAuliffe, the first lady astronaut or whatever, and the space shuttle Challenger that disintegrated in takeoff. Remember that?
I heard, about it a little bit.
Well, it was kind of a little bit before your time. I was at the University of Texas. This was probably in the early 90s. But it was a big one of the earlier space shuttles disasters. Sean, let me tell you, you can look this up on the internet. All of those people that were mourned by everyone, they're all still alive. They're all still alive. They're all still, they know where they're working now, their different jobs and stuff. Some of them are even still going by the same name. Two of them were confronted by a European journalistic team that went around and found all these people that were supposedly dead, of the shuttle disaster. And they confronted them, two of the astronauts, men. You know what they both claimed? That they were the twin brother of the astronaut that died. And yet they've gone back and looked at all these records. These guys didn't even have a twin brother. That's how hiding in plain sight. It's like you or me, somebody said we died and we never had a twin brother, and yet we go to work over here or something, with a slightly different name and claim that we're the twin brother of. It's just ludicrous. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. That they, people just buy any type of lie that they're told just about. It's fascinating. But there is a Matrix-like aspect to all of this. There's aliens, whether they're interdimensional, whether they have physical bodies, whatever's going on with them, demons. And we know these satanic rituals, these people who are involved in this are really getting some type of power off of this, real power. But even above all that, there's some type of matrix-like aspect to this whole thing. And I don't know what it is. And that, that's something, what's so scary about the whole idea of the matrix is that's something that cannot be reasoned with. You know what I mean? Even if you had an alien, and you somehow captured him, you held a knife to his throat, you would imagine that he'd want to live, and so he could be reasoned with at that point. You know what I mean? But the matrix, or the artificial intelligence, it can't be reasoned with.
Well, see, that's where, it took me a long time to realize that, my own family was my handlers, you know what I mean? And it took me, I'm 31 years old now, it took me till about 4 months ago, I woke up and I had all these, memories of things that had happened as being a child. And, my mother she was hooked to drugs. I also found out that there was a hysterectomy done, and, she's not my real mother. And I don't know who my real mother is. These are just the things, it kind of boggles me. I go to sleep at night and I wonder, who is my real mother? And why did this have to happen to me?
Yeah, okay. And now, have you heard of, I don't want to, say anything gross or wrong or anything like that, but, you've heard of what they call these breeders. That women are used to just breed babies, breeders. Have you heard of that concept? So, and I'm not saying...
Oh, breeders.
Yeah, breeders. And one thing that these breeders, that they use them for is to breed babies to be sacrificed. Babies that are undocumented and everything to be sacrificed. And so, yeah, it really does make you wonder. But here's another question. What's happened to you? We know, at the very least, and I know, because I believe you, that all of these experiences are real. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all exactly what you thought they were. I don't know what you thought they were, but we know that the world is enough illusion that we don't even know exactly what, some of it was real, some of it was maybe not real, but definitely the people dying and all that shit is definitely real. But is it possible that what has happened to you can only happen to a certain group of people? In other words, that there's, if we're in a zoo or something like that, or there's some aliens, caretakers that are looking after us, that we all have different tags, and you can do this and this to this person, but you can't do it to that person, or something like that. Do you think there's something like that going on, where we're like, or do you think anyone can be abducted by UFOs?
Whoever they want to take.
Huh?
Because I believe our government has messed with them so much that they can't breed, with their own species. So they have to come to Earth and they have to take, people and breed with them.
Yeah, there's definitely some aspect of that, and I don't know if it's a physical type of breeding, which, according to the Bible and stuff like that, it really is, because this is where these monstrosities came from, is when these, sons of God or whatever, came to Earth and they saw these fair women, but it's almost as if these beings are somewhere between physical and non-physical somehow. And I don't know.
Interdimensional.
Yeah, and almost like dare I say Jesus, you know what I mean? Virgin birth, you know what I mean? It's just hard to know really what's going on. One thing's for sure, that this whole Bible narrative, I'm not knocking Christianity or anything like that, that is a huge part of it. And what a lot of people don't realize is that these secret societies, who we imagine, or their common person would see a secret society, and they would say, aha, they're Satanists. And what they actually don't realize is that these quote-unquote Satanists have almost the exact same beliefs as Christians. And so I'm going to get a certificate off the wall that I have hanging framed, and I'm going to show it to you. And I don't know if I've, Sean, as a matter of fact, it's just right here. Sean, have I told you, you know, you've learned some things about me and my family and stuff like that a little bit. You know, I've been to prison. Did you know that I'm in a secret society?
No.
Okay. That's not a big secret because many people who've been watching, I've revealed this on my show before. It's known. I am a member of a secret society. Before I show you this diploma or this certificate, I am going to tell you that I'm not going to say I've had a falling out with the brothers and sisters of the order, but I can tell you that I have not been to the lodge in probably over 2 years. Just for more than one reason. Okay. I'm going to get it off the wall. Okay, I'm holding it right here. Can you see that?
Wow. Wow.
That right there is it's one of the most, I'm a member of one of the most powerful secret societies on earth. And I have never seen anything bad happen. I've never seen anyone get hurt or harmed, but I'm in the lower degrees. And I'm definitely not saying anything bad about them. And there's many secret things, obviously. Most of your hermetic, so-called hermetic fraternal orders have a Templar tradition. In other words, either ceremonially or in other different ways, they consider themselves, or we consider ourselves, to be modern day Templars. Do you know what I mean by Templar?
You got to fill me in on that.
A Templar meaning a Templar Knight. These are a group that was around during the Crusades. And it has to do with the Red House and the White House of Egyptian lore. That's where we get the idea of the White House where the president lives. In other words, back in the Red House is the first sons. In other words, back in Egyptian days and down through the royalty, the first son inherited everything. And all the other kids got nothing. And there came a time when the other kids wanted something and they had to go out and get it on their own. And that's where the idea of the Templars came from. And this is who started the modern day banking system. So almost all of your Hermetic Western occult fraternal organizations, like the Masons, for instance, or that group that I just showed you that I'm a member of, have a Templar tradition. In other words, they consider themselves to be Templar Knights. And one of the symbols of the Templar Knights is, you see, they've got all the money, but it's kind of a dichotomy because we call ourselves the poor knights of Christ. In other words, there's vows of poverty and stuff like this. And so our symbol is, one of our symbols is two knights riding on one horse. And that symbolizes poverty because we couldn't afford it for each knight to have his own horse. So we had to double up on horses. You know what I mean? It's kind of a symbol. And of course there's other type of sexual symbols with that, right? Two men, one man riding behind another, you know what I mean? It gets into some pretty twisted shit. I'm getting this diploma off of, I think this is not for my Minerval initiation, this is for my first degree initiation, but I'm bringing it over here to this camera so that it can be on the video, you know, and I'm just showing everybody that. To all illustrious, ineffable, and sublime brethren of every degree over the surface of the globe, greetings, health, prosperity, fraternity. Know ye that we, the undersigned Rex Supremus X of the ancient order of Oriental Templars, hereby do certify, acknowledge, and proclaim that Durward King Mahon has been duly and properly initiated into the first degree of the Mysteria Mystica Maxima. Love is the law, love under will. So, there it is right there. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. It's pretty nice looking document there. Had to go through some shit to get it, and I'm not going to tell you anything about the initiation ritual because if I were to reveal the secrets of any of the initiations I've been in, I could literally have my throat ripped out and my tongue pulled out through my throat, or they could, you know, use this and eviscerate my guts and pull my guts out. You know, that's the penalty that we've more or less agreed to if we tell, if we, you know, things that we know to the quote unquote profane, which is of course the people that aren't in on the secrets.
Yeah.
So anyway,
wow.
And I will tell you, not these people, not the brothers and sisters, but a rogue faction of, let's say, occultists who just happened to be in the order did try to put a ritual on me about a year ago. I was lured to Denver, to Colorado, and they tried to put a ritual on me. I've talked about this in a couple of my other episodes. And once I got down there, I found out that the reason I was down there was to meet one of the most powerful, what a normal person would call one of the most powerful satanic priests in the nation. His name is Christopher. His name is Christopher Harden. He's a brilliant man, and he lives up in the mountains in a cabin, and he performs rituals up there regularly. And I stayed in his home, and I've seen his temple, and I have pictures of his temple. And he's a very brilliant man, likable guy. I can't really say that I have too much of a problem with him, except they did try to pull a ritual on me. Him and the young lady that lured me up there. So, but I didn't go for it, and so that's that. It didn't work. Better luck next time, y'all. Try to pull a ritual on me, huh? That's it. What should we talk about next, Sean?
I don't know. I'm like interested in what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know, I told you about the book I wrote, My Family Created the National Security State. You mentioned that you've had Wizard of Oz programming. There was some, when my uncle, not my great uncle, but a different uncle, got in trouble with the IRS, and he had to run, and he ran away to Mexico. And my parents made a vacation of it, and we went and visited down there to Mexico, and in Monterrey, Mexico. And my mom got a great deal with a photographer studio. And me and my brother, I was probably no older than 8, probably younger than that. My brother was probably 6.5 years old, or maybe 5.5 years old. He's 2.5 years younger than me. And we were getting our picture made in this photo studio in Monterey, and the flash of the bulb was just very bright. Kaboom! You know, this is back when they used the big flashes, you know. Boom, boom. And I mean, it just made you go like this. And we just kept taking pictures and kept taking pictures until we were just so tired. You know, we were worn out, and I didn't know what to think. I was just wanting to please my mama. I was just going along with it. By this point, my little brother was bawling. I mean, just literally, just hysterically bawling, you know. And yet the pictures kept continuing. Boom, boom. And my mom, it was like she was in a trance. She was so ecstatic about the great deal she was getting. She was getting such a great deal on these pictures. Can you imagine that? Your 2 children are right there. One of them's just kind of like in the daze like I was. And my little brother was just crying like that. Picture after picture. Does that make sense? That doesn't even make sense, does it? I mean, what kind of great deal do you need? What kind of great deal, how good can the deal be if you're sitting there taking pictures of a child that's just bawling their head off? What was really going on? What was really going on with this bright light? Poof, poof, you know, and you're just like that. Obviously, it was some type of programming session. And obviously, my mother was under full hypnotic control. Because that's just ridiculous. To sit there, to just be, one of your children are under duress, and you're just so happy. I mean, you just filled with joy at the great deal you're getting. I mean, my parents had, my parents had a lot of money. We had a lot of money growing up and shit like that. I mean, how good can the deal get? You know what I mean? They're just so thrilled by how good this deal is. It just doesn't make sense, you know. And my father, before he died, confided in me that there was something about that trip that did bother him. And that was my uncle that was in trouble with the law, in trouble with the IRS. You see, my parents were there for 2 weeks. Me and my brother were only there for a week. We got sent home early. That was part of the plan from the very beginning. And so we were flown home to stay with my grandparents. Well, it wasn't my parents that took us to the airport. It was my uncle who was in trouble with the CIA or IRS or whatever. And, you know, read between the lines, I don't know why I think this, but I think that before they were taken to the airport, we were taken to some military base or somewhere for testing or something. We were taken somewhere for something. And my father admitted to me before he died that he had a problem with that. That it was something weird, and he doesn't know why it was like that, because my father was a bull of a man. And he agreed, I guess, to something that he didn't feel good about at the time, and it bothered him that whole time. And I will tell you this, that my uncle, let's call him Gerald, that's not his real name, but and I'm not mad at him. I don't have anything against him at all. I think he's a good guy. But I do have to admit that throughout my whole life, and I hardly ever see him, but when I see my Uncle Gerald, when I see him, he looks at me like he's looking for something. Like he's looking for something, you know what I mean? Not like he's really in on the secret, but it's like he wonders too what happened almost, you know. But I'll tell you this, Sean, we talked about this earlier about, you know, obviously you've been through some horrific programming. We haven't even really touched on that yet in this episode. But I have wondered about stuff like this my whole life, and the torture, the trauma-based mind control, the torture and the trauma-based mind control. And I have 3 psychics, and I've asked them, and none of them know each other. And I have asked them, and there is a general consensus among my psychics that yes, I am under mind control, but no, I haven't been through the programs where they torture the kids and do all that horrific stuff. The type of programming that I'm under is more of a hypnotic type of mind control. That's just what I'm told. I don't know that to be true or anything. And another thing I want to tell you, you brought up earlier in our interview earlier, you mentioned that you thought that my face looked familiar, like you had seen me somewhere before, like maybe on one of these missions. And let me tell you, there's several people have told me that they have seen me in these missions with them. And I don't have any memory of this, but whatever these missions are, the fighting and all this shit, there are people, and I'm not, and where, you know, was it you